How can we build a better future? Well, yes, that's a pretty big question and one that demands all kinds of answers. We'll be looking at some of those today. Hello and welcome to a new edition of Eco Africa. I'm Chris Alems joining you from Lagos.
And I am Sandra Kahomuza Twinobdio coming to you from Kampala, right here in Uganda. Yes, Chris, we need to protect our fellow creatures and environment, reduce our carbon footprint, and help people and nature flourish. Here is what is coming up. We'll discover how human waste is being put to good use in Kenya. Meet the Green Lady of Johannesburg, training people to grow their own food locally. And find out how a man in Uganda is turning e-waste into museum pieces. But first, we head to Egypt. Countless migratory birds head across the country each year, but many don't survive the journey. An Egyptian NGO has come up with a win-win solution for the birds and the trappers and the hunters too. Heard of that old phrase, poachers turned gamekeepers? Well, get your binoculars out and take a look.
This is the story of an experiment. The main subjects are endangered birds at Lake Borolos in northern Egypt. And on the human side, a bird hunter who'd like to stop if he had another way to feed his family. And an environmentalist with a new idea.
We work with small tour agencies that are based in the area.
Plus a tour operator who's up for a challenge.
We didn't have any guidebooks and knew nothing about the birds.
And tourists from Egypt who are paying a lot to see the birds. Will it be worth it? They're all trying something that's brand new to them. Especially the bird hunter. As evening falls, he heads out onto the water. Salah Abdelaziz checks his nets in Lake Borolos. His trick is to use fake ducks to encourage real migratory birds passing through, like ducks, to join them. His duck call serves the same purpose. But they only sometimes work. Playing back recordings of real duck calls is a more reliable way to attract them. This method is illegal, but the state doesn't prosecute hunters like him. In fact, there are thousands of them. The next morning, Salah Abdelaziz discovers that he didn't catch any ducks during the night, but he did catch 3 night herons. He sells them to private buyers and restaurants. The bird hunter has no other source of income and a family of 5 to feed. But this is becoming more difficult because the animals he prefers to catch are declining in number.
In the past, a flock might include 200 ducks. Now, it may only be 50.
Lake Borolos is more than 460 square meters in size and is located in a densely populated area. Today is a first, a bird watching tour. More than 100 bird species can be observed at the lake. Now that they're endangered, locals are starting to understand the value of seeing them and even paying to do so.
It's so unique. I never thought that I would travel such a long way just to watch birds.
The organizers weren't sure if enough people would book the tour, and there are lots of details to work out.
We can't organize birdwatching trips without binoculars because the birds are too far away, and you need binoculars to see them.
Binoculars are not that easy to come by in Egypt. The environmental organization Nature Conservation Egypt provides them. It was their idea to launch the birdwatching tour together with local tour operators.
We're supporting and training them. We'll try to help them make these trips, and we'll stay there until they no longer need us. When they've managed to get access to the tourism market, reach bird watchers, and build connections with the hunters.
There are very few bird watching guides in Egypt, and certainly none like bird hunter Salah Abdelaziz. For his work as a guide on the trial day, he received the estimated earnings that he lost from not hunting. And then the magic happens. Birds come right up close to the group, resting on fishing nets. There are black-crowned night herons and squeco herons on their way from Europe to Asia. It's also a moment for Salah Abdelaziz. As a bird hunter, he can now share his knowledge of the birds.
The rarer the bird, the more expensive. The ferruginous duck is one of the rarest and most beautiful.
Are the eggs expensive?
Yes, but they don't lay eggs here.
If we focus more on bird-watching tourism, there could be many benefits in terms of jobs and the places we're trying to protect. And if people understand that these birds in these places can earn them money, then they'll protect them because they'll be profiting from them directly.
The tour operator is happy. He's already thinking long-term.
If we organize a trip and it's successful, the people who come will bring more people next time. And while not so many people are interested in Lake Barlos now, the tours will make that number grow.
Bird hunter Abdelaziz can be proud of his first day as a bird-watching guide. The tourists were impressed with his knowledge.
The thing I liked the most was having a guide that could tell you about the bird species around us and who gave us some background information about the different areas. They also explained how bird migration works.
Despite his success as a guide, Salah Abdelaziz will continue to hunt birds for the time being. It will take time to create real change here.
I'm just one individual. If other hunters did the same, it would make a big difference.
Salah Abdelaziz has caught a kingfisher, a magnificent specimen. He releases the bird. Luckily, kingfisher's not on the menu around here.
Have you noticed that groceries have become a lot more expensive recently? Climate change, the war in Ukraine, and the knock-on effects of the COVID-19 pandemic are all contributing to escalating food prices.
Yes, some people are finding it difficult to afford fruits and vegetables. So what about growing your own? It's not only good for you, it's also good for the environment. We head to Johannesburg in South Africa to check out a pioneering urban gardening project.
Nestled up to the high-rise offices of downtown Johannesburg lies Lawrenceville, but it's no high-income neighborhood. In South Africa, food prices rose by 14% this year, and residents here are barely scraping by.
Every day is hard. Sometimes they rotten. As you can see, the green peppers. I see last time, I usually buy the box 35 rand. Last week I go there, I see the box, it was 75 rand.
One way out of the predicament could be urban agriculture. At this revamped industrial site, Matsupiso Makabane wants to motivate urban dwellers to grow and process their own food.
This is beautiful. This is mint. It's very good. You can even put it on TV. Oh, I'm saying on TV. In your tea. I love tea so much.
Here, Johannesburg's self-proclaimed Green Lady heads the Green Business College, a place dedicated to inspiring people to get their hands dirty in the soil and make a living from it.
The green economy is big. So at the college, much as we cover all those sectors that I mentioned, we start with the low-hanging fruits. The low-hanging fruits, we start at the beginning, and the beginning is food.
For about 75 euros, the college offers a 5-day workshop teaching skills to grow organic food, cook it, and preserve it. Today, Makabane is teaching her students to make pear chutney and how to pickle vegetables for storage. It's done with household staples like vinegar, sugar, or salt. But the Green Business College also goes beyond planting, cooking, and preserving.
We couple this training with business skills and exposure because we are a business college. And we also want them to be entrepreneurs, to just go beyond doing these chutneys for themselves.
South Africa can produce enough to feed its population, but in 2020, 1 in 4 households went hungry because of the rising costs. Making healthy food affordable was one reason Kolofelo Mpogo got into agriculture. He graduated from the Green Business College 4 years ago and now runs a small urban farm in the north of Johannesburg. The trained musician believes that people in cities need to relearn how to grow their own food. On his plot, he regularly teaches young locals basic farming principles.
I hope to see everyone not complaining about hunger anymore, because we'll take this to backyard gardens so that everyone has a smaller piece of what we have here, and then they start seeing opportunities, because, agriculture, permaculture, it has a lot of opportunities, there's so much money here.
Mpogo offers these courses for free. Today, another local woman has come to show how to make self-watering planters out of old plastic bottles to grow vegetables and herbs at home. Valuable green skills in hard times.
Our economy is falling, so with this, I can plant my spinach, my vegetables, I can eat at home. And they'll be healthy and fresh. DIY.
After training more than 2,000 students, it's success stories such as these that inspire Matsipiso Makabane to spread her green message.
Food is everything. That's where it starts. Everybody has to eat. COVID or no COVID, climate change or not climate change, poverty or no poverty, people have to eat. And everyone eats, including the president.
Staying with green cities, now for the next and final installment of our series about a new district in Vienna, Austria that's been built to cope with future climate challenges. You can find all the other episodes and lots of other exciting content on the DW Instagram page.
The architecture in Vienna's newest district features smart energy concepts. It challenges architects to use building materials to ensure minimal harmful effects to the ecosystem. In fact, Seestadt is home to some of Europe's most innovative sustainable buildings. The Robin office building will not require heating, cooling or ventilation. That's actually thanks to an old technique, building with extra thick brick walls. This ensures that the temperatures in the office building are always between 22 and 26 degrees Celsius. Another landmark is the Ho-Ho. At 84 metres high, it's one of the tallest timber buildings in the world. 75% of the building is made of wood, only the core is concrete. Wooden buildings can sequester carbon. Even after wood is felled, it stores CO2 for up to 100 years. Another key aspect is the ecological construction management on site, like reusing the material that was excavated when creating the Seestadt Lake, meaning the first houses were virtually born out of the lake.
From a green city of the future to one with a dirty past, for over a century, coal mining was the main industry on Norway's Svalbard Islands. But what was once a mining town is now being returned to nature in one of the country's biggest ever renaturation projects. Yet, not everyone thinks Norway's motives for switching away from fossil fuels are as pure as they might first seem.
It's pretty quiet here nowadays, but not so long ago, this area was part of the bustling coal mining industry on the Arctic archipelago of Svalbard. Astoundingly few traces remain of that era, thanks to the efforts of Norway's biggest ever renaturation project.
The concept is to try to let the nature take it back and make the nature itself. That means let creeks run freely, make sure that avalanches do happen, because that will transport more of the sediments down. It will make new creeks.
It was over 100 years ago, in 1917, that a Swedish company opened the first mine here. It was later taken over by Norway's state-owned coal mining company, Store Norske.
While Store Norske run the place, we had at the most there is barracks for 300 people with canteen. We had airfield with yearly 35,000 passengers, a power plant, workshop, storage.
But in the fall of 2023, the town of Svalbard disconnected its coal plant for good. Most buildings and machinery have been dismantled and removed. Just a few have been left as historical artifacts. The archipelago is a long way from the mainland, 1,000 kilometers south of the North Pole and 1,000 kilometers north of Norway. While it belongs to Norway, other states are allowed to engage in commercial activities here. Norway and Russia mined coal for decades. It wasn't always profitable, but allowed them to stake a claim in the region. Now the Norwegian government has decided to let nature take back the site.
We also see this as part of the commitment we've done internationally to take more care of what is left of nature, because humankind has been quite harsh with Mother Earth, and we need to behave in a better way in the future.
Glaciologist Andrew Hodson works at the local university. He views the project through a somewhat different lens.
If you ask most people about one of the motives behind these changes, then for sure a lot of people are quite confident that it's also a geopolitical motivation behind it, and it's a way of Norway sort of gaining more control on land management here.
But this is the fastest warming region on the planet, so these changes are good for the environment and long overdue. And they are good news for scientists and the rest of the world.
We have an opportunity here to start to demonstrate how we can restore things to a natural state in the most difficult environment. And so if we can record success there, then it's a good news story for other parts of the industrialised Northern Hemisphere and elsewhere in the world.
If this rewilding project succeeds here in this rugged polar landscape, experts believe it could work in other climate zones too.
Electronic waste is a big problem in Africa. Unfortunately, a lot gets sent from richer countries, often illegally, and ends up in landfills or elsewhere.
If electronics aren't disposed of properly, the chemicals inside can poison the air, soil and water. In this week's Doing a Bit, we meet a man who saves old electronics from the junk heap.
A 1960s telephone. Young people in particular are intrigued. Many of them have never seen a record player before. Emmanuel Semwanga shows visitors around the exhibition in Kampala. He often takes his mobile vintage museum on tour around the country. Over the years, he's collected all kinds of vintage items that he remembers from his youth.
The children these days, the generation that we have, they know the smartphone and the flat screens and such kind of thing. They don't even know that at one time we were the remote controls for the TVs that we have here. As in, if a parent wanted to change a station, they would ask you to go and help them do that, even radios. So people don't know that that analog system existed.
He's become an expert in all things analog. There's nothing Semwanga can't repair. He's picked up some items from scrap metal dealers, like this gramophone. People who visit the museum then often donate items. Most of them would otherwise probably end up on the street, like so much electronic waste in Uganda. An estimated 4 million kilos is generated every year.
Today you have seen many of the waterways clogged with a lot of things. But if we keep such things and keep them for purposes of educating others, then we are removing a lot that will be going out into the environment. Some of these things might also have a few chemicals that are not good for our environment.
With his hobby, Semwanga is preserving cultural history and helping the environment.
One of the biggest and most pressing challenges that humankind is currently facing is finding alternatives to fossil fuels. Part of the answer might lie in sophisticated new technologies, but other solutions might be simpler than we think. This one, at least, is right under our noses. Let us go to Kenya and find out.
The Earth's natural resources are finite. Wait, all of them? As long as there are people, one resource won't ever run out: excrement. A company in Kenya has specialized in the treatment and recycling of fecal sludge. After exposing it to high heat to remove harmful pathogens, the raw material is processed into briquettes.
The first reaction you always get is curiosity. You see, when you meet an idea that you previously didn't think it was possible, then you find that not only is it possible, there is even a model to do it profitably, to recover some value and generate some revenue from waste.
The company is based in Naivasha, some 90 kilometers west of Nairobi. Truck drivers visit the surrounding communities collecting fecal waste from latrines in private households. The wastewater would otherwise simply seep away, as the sewage system here is only partially developed. John Kariuki has been working here for 3 years, and he's impressed with the process.
At first I thought it was bad, maybe unhealthy or even damaging. I was surprised to find out that it doesn't produce smoke and it's free from harmful gases. Charcoal has carbon monoxide, but briquettes don't.
12 truckloads of fecal sludge are collected every month. Each contains around 20,000 liters. The company has built most of the latrines itself, an investment that should pay off in the long term.
Primarily, the challenge of sanitation is something that has many socioeconomic impacts negatively, in that it contributes to diarrheal diseases, contributes to lowered productivity. If you're sick, you can't work as much. And sanitation, poorly managed sanitation, is a challenge that is all over the world. In East Africa, studies have shown that up to 90% of waste is not safely managed.
So far, Sanivation's pilot project has been going well. The locals are pleased too. All sorts of garbage ends up in the wastewater, including plastic. All that is separated out of the sludge that's collected.
We are providing them with safely managed sanitation. We are taking away the waste that would have otherwise caused disease and polluted the environment. In the communities we work in, we have also provided employment, directly and indirectly.
Indirectly, the company provides work for around 100 people and employs 56 responsible for the various stages of the process. First, the liquid is separated from the solid, and then the liquid is taken to the county waste management plant. The solid is heated to several hundred degrees. Then it's processed and mixed with biomass, usually sawdust. The final briquettes contain 5 to 30% dried feces. The company produces around 100 tons of poop-fueled briquettes every month. John Kariuki says there are benefits to using briquettes even for cooking.
It's more efficient, it lasts longer, and it cooks food well, among other few uses. Charcoal has had harmful effects. It has even caused death. But briquettes are clean to use and have no harmful emissions.
A few restaurants in Naivasha are also using the briquettes, including this cafe. Before, they used firewood for their stone oven, but that was more expensive and hard to come by in the rainy season.
So you'll find us struggling to get a supplier for firewood. The supply will dwindle. It will be smoky inside this place because of the quality of firewood. When we switched on to briquettes, you can even see from behind me that the smoke is less. They consume it for a long time. They are consumer friendly.
Even if it doesn't sound too appetizing, the pizza tastes just as good. The company hopes that this unlimited alternative fuel will one day be as common as coal and firewood are today.
Thanks for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the program. For now, I'm Chris Alem saying so long from Lagos, Nigeria.
Bye, Chris, and see you again very soon. And to all of you, our viewers out there, do you have any thoughts or ideas on ways to build a better future? Write and share them with us. We look forward to hearing from you. I am Sandra Kahomuza Twinovideo, signing off from Kampala, right here in Uganda.